Welcome back to the Poisoner's Almanac, everyone. I'm your co-host, Adam.
I'm Rebecca. Sorry, I'm here.
How you doing, sweetie?
I'm all right. I'm. I won something this week. I
You
won a
did?
thing.
Tell the
Yeah.
people.
Well, I went to give blood this week because they called me up. Well,
Why do they always call you up, though?
I don't know. I guess I need O positive blood,
Yeah.
and there's not a lot of people who give blood around here. I don't think it's for any particular reason. It's just I don't know. They have a hard time finding people to do it, and I don't mind doing it. It's just sometimes I have to remember, to do it. But they usually call me up to let me know when I'm eligible, because you have to wait 8 weeks or something after something like that. There's a time frame that you wait. And the last time I went to get it done, they stuck my finger like three times trying to get my hemoglobin because you have to have a hemoglobin, I think, in there in the actual place. It's like 11.8 or something.
You've been turned away before.
My hemoglobin likes to stay between 11 and 12, right around there. It don't like to go up any higher for whatever reason. And, but this time they checked it 3 times, finally got it up to 12 something. I was able to do that. And then but then they went to put the needle in and stuff. And they had a hard time with that needle. I mean, they were struggling to get my blood. And then my blood pressure was low. And they were like, is your blood pressure usually this low? I'm like, yep, this is my blood pressure on coffee and Adderall. Okay. It'll go up. Once I start driving again, blood pressure will go up.
Once
Don't worry.
I'm forced to drive.
But they, anyway, so yeah, I did that. And cause they signed me up to do, they're like, hey, can you come out here that day? And I was like, sure. If you put me on a schedule, I can write that down and be there because I hate missing things that I have signed up for. Yeah.
Yes. If you make me an appointment, I will stop my life and make it happen.
So anyway, I went out there and did that. And then they were like, well, you can enter your name into this raffle that I guess the orthodontics put forth for the blood drive thing. There wasn't anybody else there. And I was like, have you guys had anybody else come through? And they were like, nope, you're the only one. And they were going to be there until I went at 10:30. And I guess I was the only one to show up, by that time. And it was only going to go on till 12:30. So I don't know if they had anybody else come give blood or not, which I'm like, I don't know if I won this thing or if it's just I was literally the only person that showed up and that's how I won the thing. But yeah, I won this raffle and it included a brand new Apple Watch.
There it is.
Show
them the strap.
Oh,
What's
yeah.
on the strap?
The Labyrinths.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't give me that. I already had that.
They're 8-bit. They're 8-bit versions of Labyrinth characters.
Yeah, I had that from this VOX is the company. I think I saw it and I was like, I need that.
Yeah.
And so I had it for my old watch. And I mean, when I say old watch, it was a 2 or something like this.
This is the second one.
This is the 11.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what the numbers are, but they're like, here's a brand new Apple Watch. I'm like, oh, okay. And they also gave me a $250 gift card, just a Visa gift card. And I'm like, how much did y'all put into this?
A lot.
And then they also gave me a bunch of orthodontic swag from it's the Trotters orthodontics or whatever. And it's funny because I had braces there when I was younger.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, here's a hat, here's a shirt, here's a tumbler and a silicone cup and I'm like, dang, part of me was like, am I allowed to have this? Is this okay? Can I have this? Yeah, I won this thing. I put my name in the raffle, but was mine the only one in there? Because I don't know if anybody else showed up and I feel kind of bad. So there's my story of what I won this week and how I somehow also made myself feel bad about it. On that note, give blood if you can.
You really should.
And I know it helps because our daughter had to have a blood transfusion when she was younger.
She did.
Mm-hmm.
My goodness.
And
what a time that was.
Yeah. So she had to have one and I was thankful that someone had given blood so that she could go through that. But anyway, yeah, that was my week. Also, the government shut down and it's been kind of crazy. It's been, it's been some ups and downs.
This year has been a wild decade.
I'm not too shocked by the whole government thing though, because it happens every so often.
It does.
They're a bunch of babies.
That's right.
So here we are.
Yep. Let's go to some comments from Spotify. Blaufrosch, a.k.a. Clara Jurisons. She says, the word demon comes from Old Greek and Latin daemon and originally meant divine power or guiding spirit, essentially a servant.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like how Socrates, I think, mentioned how he had this daemon or whatever, it would sort of guide him.
Right.
Yeah.
Megan Geiler. She was loving, and these comments are from the History and Lands episode. Megan Geiler says, please, 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 in all caps, another episode like this. I've taken so many notes. The aspects, properties, and efficacies of these plants will make an appearance in my new series I'm writing. Hashtag Dixie Painter, hashtag Kingdom of Asherah.
Nice.
Megan, are you an author?
I have.
Do you know if she's an author or not?
Sounds like it, though. Cool. I do know that you'll like some of the ones I'm going to talk about today.
Mm-hmm. Kiki Lynette says, I always quote that Bible verse when someone tries to predict the apocalypse. It came from JC himself. Come on, dudes. This is a very fun topic. Curses and lands. Keep up the good work, you all.
And people get so mad when you quote things at them that are like, it's in the book. I've read it.
Yeah, I thought you liked this book.
What's wrong with saying what's directly in the book?
That's right. Let's jump into some housekeeping for the old podcast. Thank you guys for following us or subscribing on whatever platform you're listening or watching on. Thank you in advance for leaving 5-star reviews. Those are really piling up, especially on Spotify. Be sure to follow us on socials. We have dedicated podcast channels and our personal channels. Links in the show notes for that. The Patreon is up and running. Link in the show notes to support the podcast through there. Let us know what kind of content you would like to see. We recently added a $3 a month tier that now includes the segment Poison in the News, which has been a lot of fun. And it also includes the basic tier, the $1 a month tier of
bonus episodes,
weekly bonus episodes. The option to leave us a voicemail that we play and react to on the podcast, and also getting shouted out on the podcast by name.
Where do you find the voicemail thing?
I need to repost that link. Is there a way to pin a post in Patreon?
Yeah.
Okay. So
I know how to do something you don't know how to do.
That's crazy.
On the internet?
That's crazy. So we're going to pin a post that has the voicemail link and the merch link. We have merch for the podcast in case you guys are interested in that. And
I am going to put the next tier out this week.
Yay.
Starting this week. I finally got some stuff done.
Wait. Are you talking about the third tier, the Camilla Sodes tier?
Yeah. I've learned that with Camilla and the nature of her schooling and with the ADHD on both of us, I'll probably do one Camilla Sode, but I think we should include something you and I do also with that one, where it's just talking about neurodivergent stuff. But with that third tier,
we can do that easily.
For that third tier, it's going to be everything else plus a Camilla Sode a month, and also one of those where we just talk about neurodivergent stuff. I'm also going to include some lives soon through. I'm thinking Discord is probably the easiest way from what I've been told.
Is it really?
So far, yeah.
You'll just go live while you're doing research?
Just doing research. No, it's just kind of hang out. I'm sure Camilla will crash it here and there because she takes breaks during her school time. So.
And the Discord is available at the lowest tier of the Patreon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It is.
That's good.
Tis.
So we'll have the $1 tier that's bonus episodes, voicemails, shouted on the podcast by name. The $3 tier includes all that and Poison in the News segment. Then the $5 tier includes everything I've already mentioned and Camilla Sodes, neurodivergent episodes, and live streams on Discord.
Yeah. And I've learned how to do so many things with the technologies.
Yes, you have. All right. Speaking of getting shouted out on the podcast by name, those people are as follows. 87 Pens Girl 71, Mara Santiago, Grace Lahan, Genevieve, Nahev Shatrit, Jay Went, Incan Hafner, Kira Yorsek, Tay of Sunshine, Monique, Shane R., Sue Steves, James Mills, Megan Geiler, Liz B., Willie Wolf NZ, Mama G., Nicole Rivers, Richard Miyako, Heather Nolan, Kaylee, Sasha Rubel, Maya Showstock, Maggie's Yarm, Ogre the Viking, Lynn Rocket, Brett Moser, Zaid, Neil Houdini, Nicole Crane, Jefferson Vargas, Carmen Q, Sarah G., Knitting Ninja, Estar, Olive Octopus, Betsy Rich, T-Bug, Christine Mulchati, Morgan Brittingham, Blaufrosch, a.k.a. Clara Jurisons, Vix, Anne Maria, Carl Ziegler Jr., Clyde, Jennifer Wilson Richter, Too Fidgety, Wendy G., Elena M.K., Caitlin Martin, Pungrim 101, Minna Snoda, SPT, Tasha, Stuart Slattery, Simone Valdez, Christian Scradergard, Bonnie, Oma D., Rynell Alara, Kristen Arnold, Aaron Carey, Lynn Simpson, Melissa Emmel, Desiree Davis, Jennifer Ramirez Johnson, Dalek Party, The Warped Witch, Dizzy Dancer, Creative Otter, Yadmint, Supergirl Sway, Rachel, Anya Brandt, Ebby, Leah Marie Matson, Lady Digitalis, Jesse, Shay 10, Julia Franzoni, Sparks, Gloria Eichmann, Thomas Huff from Strings to Things, Soy Kasumi, Jessica Gasparini, Robert Jr., Caitlin, Donna Lanchanese, Lauren Smith, Anna G., Serpentine Fire, Melanie the SLP, Stuart Lee, Solstice, Chris Melinak, Mackenzie Kennedy, Libby, Hetty, Hantapalooza, J Moon, Kelsey H, Paper Sky, Hannah Cook, Nikki Larkin, Campusar, Rar, Britt Clark, Paris Longer, Andrea Shameless, Agitator, Ruby Salazar, Cassandra Smiles, Liam, Daniel Soar, and please welcome our two newest patrons, Jasmine and Kapow73. Thank you all for supporting the podcast. And my dear, we are talking about Appalachia today, are we not?
We are. We say Appalachia down here. I know some people, I've also heard, people say Appalachia, but that hurts my brain for some reason. I think maybe in different places, people say it maybe a little bit differently. I've always said Appalachia. Yeah, there's a lot that we could talk about with Appalachia. I promised some spooky season themes for, episodes leading up to Halloween. And it is officially October, of course. We started kind of last week because I love spooky
Merry
season.
Christmas, everyone.
It still feels like summer here for the most part. It has cooled off a little, but it's like, it's
very fall feeling right now.
But we have things called false fall here. So
overcast, ain't no sun.
So sometimes it's like, is that a touch of fall? And then it'll be like 99 the next day. And it's like, never mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be glad when it stays a little bit cooler. It's just been way too hot lately. But I decided to research a bit locally. I say a bit, but a little bit north of us, really. Go through some superstitions, legends, and cryptids spoken of throughout the Appalachian mountain area. First, though, I want to mention some rather spooky but endearing plants that you can find in the area. And yeah, I'm actually going to talk about one of my favorite plants, of all plants. This is Monotropa uniflora. It's also known as the ghost pipe plant or the Indian pipe. It's commonly found in North America, South America, and Asia, and just various parts kind of throughout. The name Monotropa is actually Greek for one turn, and uniflora is Latin for one flowered, as there's one sharply curved stem for each single flower, as you can kind of see, especially when it's on the side there. It looks like one stem, curve, flower. It is typically found in clumps of 2 or more near fungi, and it uses the fungi as, sort of as its food source. Kind of go into that a little deeper. This plant is small. It's about 2 to 12 inches, about 5 to 30 centimeters in height. It's usually white in color. Sometimes it can have black flecks or a pale pink tinge. Every so often, rarely really, you might find a deeper red toned one. But it gets mistaken sometimes for a fungus, but it is not. It does need to be near fungi because it does not photosynthesize. As you can tell, it does not have any chlorophyll.
Right. It's not green.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, but because of that, it can grow where there's little light. So it doesn't need to photosynthesize using the sun. I mentioned it needs a fungus nearby, but it's a special kind of fungus with ties to the root systems of trees. And through the fungal web, the roots of this plant ultimately sap food from where the host fungi are connected to the photosynthetic trees. It's kind of complicated, I know, but it's actually genius if you think about it. It's often associated with beech trees. It can be found in redwood forests as well. Now, the clustered node roots of this plant, they're covered in these little hairs called cystidiums. And these allow the roots to easily connect or attach to the fungi, which is connecting those trees as well.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, there's a whole network, under there. Now, as with every strange and unusual plant, this one goes along with a pretty cool story. It's a part of a Cherokee creation story, Native American Cherokee story of sorts. The legend states that the plant was named Indian pipe due to a group of chiefs quarreling without resolution while passing a pipe around during the dispute. The Great Spirit then turned the chiefs into the plant, as they should have smoked the sacred pipe after making peace with each other.
Wow.
The plant is said to grow wherever friends have quarreled. So that's
that's clever.
Just kind of, yeah. Anyway. They are very delicate, as you can imagine. They are also toxic as they contain glycosides. So enough as theoretically could cause illness and possibly death. It's not something people try to eat often anyway, though. It's not easily found in a lot of places. Like other toxic plants in the wild, it has been used in herbal medicines as well for analgesic purposes. It has salicylic acid, which is like the precursor or sort of ingredient for aspirin, where we kind of get aspirin from. It also has been used to treat anxiety. It does contain granotoxins, so kind of a... Now, this plant is also associated with Emily Dickinson, the poet, who called it her preferred flower of life, likely because of its fragility. She wrote a lot about the fleeting beauty of life. She wrote some pretty depressing stuff. I remember going over her life way back in English. Our English teacher was big on history as well, and so we went over like a lot of the lives of poets and writers and stuff like that, which was really fascinating to me. She wrote, "Though I could not stop for death, he kindly stopped for me." She wrote a lot of different stuff. Good poet, though. But when picked, these flowers quickly turn black and just crumble away. So they're very fragile. They can't live outside of that sort of network, basically, where they're attached to the fungus.
Yeah.
They're very hard to propagate because you need that sort of source for them to gain nutrition, right?
Can you propagate them?
Under the right circumstances. I mean, it's very difficult, though. You'd have to have some way for it to get nutrition because it doesn't photosynthesize.
Yeah.
Right. So now there are other plants in Appalachia known for their toxicity, and we've discussed some of these already. Water hemlock, Jimson weed, datura, pokeweed, giant hogweed. Now, hogweed is if you touch this plant and the sun will burn your skin off, basically. It sensitizes your skin to the sunlight very
gross,
very easily.
Okay.
Don't touch it. Rhododendrons, azaleas, if you will. False hellebore, baneberry, black cherry, horse nettle, mountain laurel, and of course there's always the poison ivy, poison sumac stuff. And we haven't really done episodes on those. Poison ivy, poison sumac, they're not deadly poisonous to most people. We could go over them later in a different episode when we talk about maybe some of the more topically poisonous plants. But now what I feel I need to speak on this season is actually a fungus called jack-o'-lantern mushroom. Because, come on, 'tis the season.
Of course.
Technically, it's the eastern jack-o'-lantern mushroom, Omphallotus illudens, because this is the species that grows in the area. There are others in different places as well, such as California and even overseas in the Mediterranean. This mushroom is named jack-o'-lantern because of its orange color and, well, the season it grows in, I imagine. It can be found growing between June and November in shaded areas and clusters at the base of oak trees, on decaying stumps, on tree roots, things like that. They also give off this eerie glow in the dark because they have this weak sort of bioluminescence where their gills are.
Mm-hmm.
So basically glow in the dark mushrooms. It's pretty cool. This fungal bioluminescence has a long and storied place in the folklore of the Appalachian area and has been called foxfire.
Yes. Okay.
They are also toxic, containing illudin and possibly muscarine. Basically, ingesting these mushrooms can lead to violent illness, mainly gastrointestinal and rarely fatal when these mushrooms are eaten raw or cooked. It can cause vomiting, cramps, and diarrhea, but it can get pretty severe. Symptoms can last for up to 2 days and sometimes require hospitalization. The cytotoxic effect of illudin is of interest for treating some cancers. However, they've been sort of piecing that together. Illudin itself is too poisonous to use directly, so it has to first be chemically modified into a treatment as you do. The problem for many foragers not familiar with this mushroom is that it gets confused for chanterelles sometimes, which are edible and people like to go looking for. So, as we always say on the show, don't just go picking stuff up and eating it.
Don't do that.
But the main way to distinguish the two species is that jack-o'-lanterns are generally larger at maturity. They have true blade-like gills, whereas chanterelles have false gills. Chanterelles also have white flesh, while that of the jack-o'-lanterns remains orange throughout. You could cut open kind of down at the stem and stuff, and it would stay orange inside as well. There have been legends of misleading lights and orbs or spirit lights or will-o'-the-wisps, if you will, blamed on these glowing little toxic mushrooms. And a lot of people associate will-o'-the-wisps with, I think, Irish or Scottish folklore. Maybe you've seen Brave.
Yeah.
The will-o'-the-wisps, the little things that she chases,
Oh, yes.
And we're going to go over why you would hear about will-o'-the-wisps in Appalachia. We're going to get into some Appalachian folk tales and superstitions of the land there. Every society that has been around long enough has their own folk tales. We know this. Ireland and Scotland are famous for such themselves, as are countries throughout Europe, Africa, Middle East, Asia, South America. Literally go anywhere, you will hear some strange and sometimes creepy tales. And maybe these stories come from our ancestors who were just trying to make sense of, some phenomena, or trying to teach children a lesson and not venturing where it's dangerous, different things. Whatever the case, each tale leaves its mark and it sticks with the listener and, of course, gets passed down. As it does, some changes are made, but the theme typically stays the same. Stay out of the woods at night. Don't approach strangers in the woods or on the road. Don't travel alone. Don't follow strange lights or sounds. Basically, don't be that stupid character that dies in the first part of a horror movie, right? You know what I mean? Don't just pick stuff up, and don't run to the screeching sound. Oh, what's that? Right? Now, what some may not yet know is that the Appalachian Mountains were once a part of the Scottish Highlands when the continents were all one big landform.
Yes.
The two were one mountain range back then, known as the Central Pangaean Mountains. To those researching the models, basically, of such, Pangaea. The Appalachian Mountains, therefore, are incredibly old. Technically, they're about 1.8 billion years old. This range of this land mass is.
That is a lot.
The land mass itself is older than trees, though now it is covered with just great botanical diversity. There's trees everywhere now on the Appalachians. The Appalachian region runs through 13 U.S. states as federally defined. Okay. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and New York. Others do consider other parts of the New England area to be a part of the broader range, and there are sub-ranges that are called different names among the Appalachian Range, including the Blue Ridge Mountains, which are close to us, the Great Smoky Mountains on the border of Tennessee and North Carolina. You've got the Appalachian Plateau, where the Allegheny Mountains are, the Ridge and Valley area running through Virginia and Pennsylvania, the White Mountains and the Green Mountains, both of which are located north in the New England part of Appalachia. So just to kind of give you an idea, because you may hear like, oh, the Smoky Mountains, oh, the Blue Ridge Mountains, like they're part of the same sort of system, if you will. Yeah, and the mountain range itself, like the mountains, they don't look, when you look at like the Rocky Mountains, for instance, or mountains across the world, you see like the high peaks, right? And the stuff like that, snow-covered peaks and stuff. These mountains used to be much bigger than they are, but because they're so old, between like erosion and just over time, they've basically sort of shrunken down a little bit. So this is where we're at now. Yeah. So some simply break this range, though, into the northern, central, southern Appalachians. So it's whatever's easiest, right? It's just a huge area range. It just is. As such, it's easy to believe that some other entities may live out there in those mountains, hills, and trees. There's also a lot of abandoned places and things out there. I think I sent you some pictures of some spooky looking places.
Yeah, we've got, oof.
Yeah, that's an abandoned house / mansion that is not doing so well.
No.
Having some foundational issues. But, there's one of them. There's abandoned mining towns and facilities, abandoned homes, abandoned graveyards, buildings, mills, bridges. I think there's a place where there used to be a theme park or something. Kind of creepy.
So wild. Yeah, you see the swings and the Ferris wheel, but all the grass has grown up because there's 0 foot traffic anymore.
Yeah, so and these are just a few of the places. And I think I sent you like just the landscape a little bit. Obviously, it's just one picture because
this one.
Yeah, I mean, like that's a tiny portion of the southern Appalachian area. There's just no way I could. If I were going to get a bigger picture, it would literally just be of the U.S. and like the stretch of where it is. There used to be a lot of mining done up there. There's a lot of ghost stories, just of that have come from those mines and mining towns and just creepy stuff. A lot of creepy stuff up there. It'll feel haunted. I mean, it just feels, the vibes are creepy, right? Also, stairs to nowhere. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the legends of the stairs to nowhere. There's a lot of stairs to nowhere in the Appalachians, just abandoned sets of stairs. Like that's all that's left of whatever they were attached to. Like it just looks like somebody put some stairs in a forest.
I'm immediately going to look this up.
But basically there's a legend behind the stairs to nowhere where it's like, don't climb the stairs because it can lead you to it can lead to portals or something. I don't know. Like it'll lead you somewhere you don't want to be. But,
Stairs to Nowhere, Appalachia. It's an auto-completed.
Yeah.
This is wild.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, honestly, you shouldn't be climbing them anyway because they're probably very unstable. I wouldn't climb them either way, more for the safety part of it than the, portal situation. You know what I mean? There's also an abandoned asylum, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. You can actually take...
It's called that?
Yeah, it's called that. Sorry, I didn't make it up. It's called that. You can actually take tours here, though, so it's not as abandoned as the others. Like, it just happens to not be...
It auto-completed a Trans-Allegheny Lunatic.
It's a popular place. People go there for tours.
Oh, my... Look at this place.
Right?
Oh, my God.
It's pretty. It's spooky.
Is pretty. I need like an aerial shot. I want to see it.
Let's see. I need to write down and just like do an episode on just that and see if there's any stories about this particular place.
There's a pretty good shot. Let's see.
Trans-Allegheny.
New tag.
It's a spooky spot.
Yeah, it's sitting in the foothills of you can tell. Let's hang on.
But it's a place you can go and tour the place. Like they have guided tours that you can schedule. I'm sure the history behind it is pretty fascinating.
Chrome tab. There we go. That's the one. Here we go. Look at that place.
It just looks like the setting of a horror movie.
Yeah. That looks like a water reservoir or a water tower. Wow. Now, the main building is a certain kind of stone construction, and it looks like you've got support.
Yeah, I'm sure they've added
facilities. Yeah. There's support facilities behind it that maybe they were inpatient facility as well. That looks like the oldest of the additional buildings. Yeah,
it's a really old spot. Been around a long time. So, just a lot of creepy abandoned buildings gives the creepy vibes as well. And I don't want to forget I'm not even going to get started on the Bell Witch farm and cave. We'll actually do a bonus episode on that whole thing because it's just too much to include here. It's too much. It's too much. So I obviously don't have time to go through every single area or every story. So I'm just going to hit the highlights in this episode. It's important to note that culture in Appalachia, especially the southern and central portions, I'm really not all that familiar with the north, is an interesting mix of European and Celtic folklore, Native American, especially Cherokee, at least, like I said, central and southern parts, folklore with a dollop of Christianity mixed in.
A dollop?
Yeah, you'll know there's it's just kind of it's a mixture, a wild mixture there, but... Early settlers of the area, such as the Scotch-Irish, Native American tribes, African Americans, all of these groups had their own set of beliefs and customs. So you had the Native Americans living here, then the early settlers came in with their set of beliefs. African Americans through the slave trade too. I mean, these beliefs are going to sort of collide and mix together, as well as the customs and stuff of the area. So it's a unique experience, to say the least. You will notice heavy accents that you and I would have trouble with. Like, we're from the South, but there's different accents for different areas of the South as well. Old sayings and idioms that I won't get. Creepy tales, moonshine, hearty food. I'm talking biscuits and gravy,
baby.
And I know people people over in Europe are like, biscuits and gravy. I'm not talking cookies and the little thin gravy stuff that y'all use. This gravy thick. Okay, it is thick. The biscuits are huge, like just flour.
They're the ones that came up with heart disease. Biscuits,
but yeah, and other foods too. I mean, they cook their vegetables in meat, for goodness sake. They do here too, but it's just a thing. And now there's also a lot of self-sufficient living, farming, hunting, crafting, etc. Community is a big deal. It involves churches and family ties and coming together for big decisions and activities. that sort of thing. Think Stars Hollow, but country AF.
Fun
Way
fact.
slower talking and living.
Eric Rudolph, the man who bombed the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta, he fled from the ATF and the FBI to Appalachia, because he knew these people will protect me. So he was a former Army Ranger. He had extremely good survival skills. He had hanging barrels up on trees full of supplies scattered all across the Nantahala forest. And he survived out there for several years. And the only reason they caught him was because he came back into town and he was digging through a dumpster trying to find something to eat. That's the only reason they caught him. But those people in those communities up there, especially the people who lived up in the hills, they weren't about to tell no federal agents where Eric Rudolph was.
No, there's kind of a, mind your own business sort of thing, along with like we come together as a community and we take care of our own kind of deal.
Certainly. They have a built-in distrust of the federal government.
Yeah. And there's this whole fear of their land being taken.
Of course.
Which is funny.
The war of northern aggression.
Which is interesting because like most of them are.
We took it from someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The U.S. drove out the Cherokee of that whole land.
Yes.
And we're going to mention that in a moment because.
Here's a blanket with measles on it.
I can't go without mentioning an injustice. I said Stars Hollow, but country AF. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's more like Stars Hollow meets Skyrim, but without like the dragons. I don't know. Because Skyrim. It's like, yeah, I mean, it feels that way a little bit,
It can. They can be so they're actual people, but they feel so legendary. They don't. Yeah. They feel like a screenplay. They feel like NPCs.
They're very custom oriented, tradition oriented.
They're people of their communities, for sure. Now, with a few exceptions. Now,
the people there, they're typically wise, independent, good at surviving. They know how to live where they're at. Like they know all about the woods and how to fix things, how to build things, how to farm things.
How to figure it out.
Yeah. Now, they like music. There's a lot of ballads, fiddle music, church music, old hymns. Some of them creepy too. There's that mixture together of the creepy and the creepy Christian stuff. Storytelling is a huge deal. And they combine the two a lot of the time. Now, they're known for superstitions and religious ties as well. And I hope that gives some idea of the culture. I'm not trying to stereotype at all. This is just sort of the experience that I've had with those living, at least in the more southern parts of the Appalachians. It's a very deep set culture that combines a lot of customs and cultures from, like I said, some European areas, Native American culture, some religious stuff too. Now, I mentioned superstition and other entities possibly finding a home in this vast forest. So let's just sort of get into that. Some of it, at least. It's a broad topic. So I'm going to run through the top superstitions or the top rules to live by in Appalachia. Number 1, do not whistle at night. Don't do that.
Why not?
It's believed to call nearby bad spirits, bad luck, ghosts, or even the devil to you and your house. And if you hear whistling in the woods or at night, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't.
Get away to someplace safe. Don't acknowledge it. It's not who or what you think it is.
It's a raven.
Just get away. Number 2, do not go into the woods at night. Just don't do that. Now, this is just a good idea, to be honest. Don't do that. Superstitious or not. I mentioned already just how big this mountain range is. The wilderness is huge out there. It's easy to get lost. Very hard to be found by anyone good. Never look too hard into the trees. You may see what wasn't meant to be seen. If you see or hear anything weird, no, you didn't. Don't acknowledge it. Acknowledging it invites it. So nope, didn't hear anything. If you hear your name being called, especially in the woods or at night, do not respond. Do not even react. Pretend you heard nothing. Get home immediately. You shouldn't be out there at night, especially anyway. If you feel like you're not alone, do not run or look back. Just walk on home. Running entices whatever it is to chase, and you will not outrun what it is. If a sound seems far away, it is much closer than you think. When outside, stick to marked trails. Do not wander off. Exit a house the same way you entered it. It's apparently bad luck to enter one way and exit another. Just kind of brings bad luck Anyway.
Okay.
This is number 8, by the way. I know. I started numbering them at the very first one and then just gave up on that afterwards. But here's number 8. If you have fruit trees, especially an apple tree, always leave one hanging during harvest, or you will invite evil.
You bring great evil with you.
Number 9, hold your breath when you pass a cemetery so you do not breathe in recently departed. And we've heard some of these down here. You haven't heard that one? Like if you pass a cemetery, you have to hold your breath.
Because?
Yeah. Because if there's like someone who's just died, you don't want to like breathe
Inhale
in.
their spirit?
Yeah. It's a common superstition.
I'm sorry. What I meant to say
in the
was.
Deep South.
Okay.
Yeah. There's also, we stop too for funeral processions.
Yes. That's a custom in the South. I don't know if, for those of you who aren't from the American South, if a funeral procession, if you're driving and a funeral procession comes from the opposite direction, you pull over to the side of the road until that procession has passed you out of respect. I have been in the car with my dad. He's driving. Funeral comes by. We pull over to the side of the road. Someone else keeps driving. And as soon as they pass, as soon as my dad sees them pass, he goes, Yankee.
I was with someone who's from Oregon, and they came down here, and I was riding in the car with them, and they kept driving when there was a funeral coming, and I was like, what are you doing? You have to stop. You have to get over. And he's like, why? And I'm like, what do you mean, why? Have some respect. Yeah, it's just
Good
a
Lord.
thing.
Probably ain't got no sugar in your sweet tea.
I didn't know that other people didn't do that.
Right. Of course.
Anyway.
But Oregon is on the other side of the nation.
It's just different customs.
Sure. A nation that had, 3.8 million.
It's just not something that he was used to. And so it's like he didn't mean in disrespect. It
Absolutely
just was,
not. In his mind, he's thinking, oh, that's too bad. My condolences. He's 100% thinking that.
If they even notice it.
The custom is completely different.
Also, do not step on someone's grave. I've heard that one quite a bit.
I don't do that either.
You just don't do that. You don't step on the grave. You kind of walk around it. It's just not something you do.
You don't have to step on the heads. Yeah.
And if you're wondering, like, how often are you guys in a cemetery? There's a lot of old graveyards down here. Now, when someone dies, it's common to leave a door open so the spirit can leave. Also, wind blows near the dead as it helps their passing. So if you feel a gush of wind, that's just
your grandmama.
Bye. Now, you should cover mirrors if someone is dying, like if there's a mirror in the room, so the mirror doesn't trap their spirit. There's a lot to do with mirrors, though, and why you should cover them. You shouldn't have one facing your bed at night. They can be sort of portals for things, too.
Brother.
Some also stay up with the dead to keep them company and ease or ensure their passing. The more you read,
the more I realize why we completely screwed COVID up. 50% of everything you've said so far, people still believe right now, like next door neighbors. Like, no wonder we didn't do well with COVID.
You're not wrong. There are a lot of people, even here, and like where we live now, it's just, we're not directly in Appalachia, but there are people who are very superstitious about some of this stuff.
That COVID shot's got nanites in it to turn your brain, change your DNA. Now make sure that mirror ain't facing your bed, okay? It's going to trap your spirit.
Tell you, something come through there. You're inviting it. Now, if a picture falls off the wall for no reason, someone will die. There's a lot of, if this happens, you're going to die in these parts, okay? Or the house is haunted. Mm-hmm. Putting shoes on the bed equals the coming death of someone close to you. Shouldn't be putting shoes in the bed anyway. Death comes in threes. Heard that one a lot. If a bird flies into a house, someone will die.
Ugh.
Hearing a screech owl at dusk means someone will die. Stopping clocks when someone dies prevents more deaths. And I don't know if it's just the regular clocks or like the digital ones too.
I just want to, it makes me want to gather a group of hillbillies and say, oh, correlation, causation. Let's talk about it.
I feel like some of these might have come from like people who were OCD too, like the compulsion, like, if I don't do this, something bad's going to happen.
Wouldn't that preserve it?
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Don't worry. There's no psychiatrist around to break it down.
Never rock an empty rocking chair because it will lead to someone's death. Don't do that. You laughing, but people are probably
I'm laughing. I know there's like at least one listener that's like, why is this guy laughing? This is all true.
He better stop it. He going to call somebody. He going to call his own death.
Yeah, I see him rocking.
He going to mess
chair.
up.
I see him rocking that chair with nobody in it.
That ain't even no rocking chair. Pregnant women should not see a dead person or it will mark the unborn child.
Mark them for success?
Misfortune. Untimely death.
Autism.
An early death.
Just kidding.
Is that what happened?
Is that what happened?
Bees carry the news of death, and if you do not tell them someone in the family has died, they will swarm. All right. This is number 12. If you take a picture with exactly 3 people, the one in the middle will die first. I feel like someone made this one up at like the family reunion. Like, please stop taking
100%.
pictures. We
The
can't take
person
pictures.
in the middle, they hated their
anymore.
guts. They hated the guts of the person in the middle, so they made up this.
You tell
legend.
Meemaw that if she keeps taking pictures, there's gonna be a bunch of dead cousins. Yeah.
And if you feed that dog gunpowder, he'll guard the back door all night. That's what this sounds like.
Owls seen during the day are a bad omen. I feel like there's quite a few customs that believe that, though. I think owls equal evil spirits to some indigenous African groups. If an unattended church bell rings, a parishioner will soon die.
Somebody died.
It's always somebody dying. Spitting on something brings luck. So if you spit on a fish before the catch, I guess you spit in the water, it will ensure a good haul. I don't know why people.
Also, you're gonna die.
If you spit on a newborn, it brings luck. I don't like spitting, personally. Leaving washed diapers on the clothesline at night attracts evil. This is there's a European myth that goes along with this. If you leave certain things out at night, some sort of clothing, something can get on it, like some sort of, evil can get on it. I don't know. Dreaming of a baby means someone's going to die. Yeah. If a pregnant woman is scared by something, like really scared by it,
like being pregnant,
the baby will have a birthmark shaped by what scared her. There's also
Excuse me?
Yeah, there's another one that says, if a pregnant mother...
baby will have a birthmark in the shape of her mother-in-law.
I mean, if a pregnant woman looks at something and thinks it is ugly, then the child will look like that something. I've read that one before.
All right.
So there's that. So if it looks like an ugly tree, the baby's going to like an ugly tree.
I'm having a blast. I'm so glad
I'm glad you are.
Together.
A baby born on call, not on call as in like doctor on call. I don't know if I'm saying this right. It's basically with the amniotic sac intact over them, either over their whole form or like just even over a little bit over them.
Oh, like the water doesn't break properly?
Right. Yeah. I mean, this happens. It happens. It's rare. It's fine. Like the baby's fine.
Okay.
But a baby born this way is destined to have the gift of prophecy.
Why does this feel like my people? Like, I know this is all bunk, but it feels like, yeah, that's right.
Because you're a Southerner.
Because I grew up in Southern
Your ancestors
church
are
culture.
like, that's right.
That's right. Tell you what. You feed that dog gunpowder.
All I see, though, is the grandma in Mulan, where like the mom's
like to stay forever? The
grandma, and she's like, the mom's like, I should have prayed longer to the ancestors. She's like, what do they know? They're dead. How lucky can they be? They're dead. Anyway, never cut your hair after dusk or after sundown. Always burn it when you do, so no one can find it and have power over you, because your hair is very important. You are having a ball.
It's so absurd. I have power over you now. How?
I've got your hair.
I've got your hair.
So
oh no.
So like if you're a barber, then you're the most powerful person in that play. I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a good story.
It does, actually.
Anyway, somebody will get mad at you for laughing. They're like, you better quit laughing. Them spirits gonna come get you.
I can't wait for the comments.
Ow. There it is. See, if you
bump your knee on a podcasting table, somebody's gonna die.
Anyway.
And if it was your left knee, it's your sister-in-law.
Sorry. Now, if you want longer hair faster, cut it during the new moon. But not at night. You just got to know, you got to know your lunar cycles. You know what I mean? Like, you got to know your lunar cycles and when to cut your hair. Rubbing the head of someone with red hair is good luck. It's good luck.
Well, the luck of the Irish. Okay. There's some cross-cultural validation to that. Okay.
Not all redheads are Irish, are they?
Yeah, but a lot of them are.
The seventh daughter. This is just listen. The seventh daughter.
First of all, stop.
True. I couldn't have that many myself. The seventh daughter of the seventh daughter of the seventh son. Oh no, wait. Let me just. Okay, I'm ready. The seventh daughter of the seventh daughter, or the seventh son of the seventh son, will be a healer, fortune teller, preacher, or prophet.
There's 4 possibilities, huh?
Yeah, so I guess that's you're going to have to choose from those 4.
How many children will actually qualify for all those conditions in Appalachia?
That means they have big families. So,
But everybody's
okay.
going to die because they threw salt over their shoulders.
No, throwing salt over your shoulder is supposed to be good luck.
Oh, my fault.
That's what you
I
do
lost
if you spill salt, you're supposed to throw it over your shoulder.
All right.
I don't know how I know that. Never take an old broom to a new house. Old energy and dirt will follow. Salt placed in 4 corners and all windowsills of the house will keep out evil. And people do this. It's also bad luck to sweep dirt out your door. Yeah. And this reminds me too, though, of like around New Year's, we have our own like superstitions. Like if you want good wealth for the next year, you're supposed to eat like greens and like some collard greens, some turnip, some sort of greens, and some black-eyed peas for the coins. Like the greens are the money, and the black-eyed peas represent the coins or something like that. Also, don't wash clothes on New Year's Eve because you're cleaning away the good fortune coming your way or something. It's weird. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of them down here, and I'm sure elsewhere too. Okay, so
I can't imagine why people stop being vaccinated. It makes no sense to me.
Now there's some old wives' tales / remedies that come with, well, remedies. Okay. I'm not going to go over all of them. I'm just going to give an example. So there's a lot of old school home / natural remedies mentioned in practice in Appalachia still. Some we've talked about in our wellness episode, but also some that seem to work by symbolic or spiritual methods. For instance, I have heard it said that if a child has asthma, you're going to love this. Try to keep it together. If a child has asthma, you should drill a hole into a tree above where he stands against it. Fill the hole with some of the kid's hair and seal it with some wax. When he or she grows past that hole, they will be healed. That's an old remedy for that.
I had asthma as a child, and I grew out of it.
But did your mom put a hole in a tree?
As far as I know, no. I love this though. There's actually
I mean
they're mistaking it for the hole full of hair and wax, and really it's just your child's respiratory system maturing.
Well, a lot of people actually don't grow out of asthma, but they just stop. I mean, they may not have as bad as they did when they were younger, but it's also endearing because this is like my mom used to do this, my grandma used to do that, and it's just one of those endearing tales to remember your loved ones by, I suppose. Yeah. We laugh at like the idea of this being something that works, but I think this is the culture surrounding this. Is what does it for a lot of people. It's just sort of like, well, this is what my great grandmother did, and
that's the funny thing about it.
It's that endearment attached to it.
Listen, and I've learned this because
does it work? No, but
but that doesn't matter. It's you have this. It's
tradition.
It's tradition, but why? I've like me growing up. I've mentioned a bunch of times, like I was born into religious fundamentalism, and then when I started untangling all that, I mean, there was no stone left unturned. And so when I kind of wiped the slate clean, then I started to notice, oh, there's things that I did in my life over the years that actually brought me comfort that are illogical. And it's not only that they brought me comfort, they actually gave me a sense of my place in the world.
Yeah.
And that's a very meta, sensation. Because you're like, I've had 20 beliefs or social norms or community norms, just like everything you've listed so far. But in the moment back then, because I had never critically interrogated these things, now when you do, you're like, oh, that doesn't make any sense at all. But then when they're gone, you're like, I feel alone. I feel alone in the world. And
it's one of those things that sort of tied you to that person, maybe.
It ties you to the people that are closest to you, your mother, your father, your grandmother, grandfather, aunts, uncles, siblings.
Yeah, it's this sort of kinship, this sort of community driven, like this is what we do for one another.
Yeah.
And part of it maybe like we need to find a way to control this because we don't know how to treat it. This sounds right. Let's do that. And hey, you know
Right.
what? For some people, things like placebo effect, they
Hey,
kind of work when it
it's in
comes to
play.
like symptoms and stuff. And then if
Mhm.
something feels like it works for you, even though it doesn't make any sense, I think like for colds and stuff, yeah, I've totally gone after the whole like putting potatoes on your feet. It's useless, but
Yeah.
also your body's probably just going to get rid of that cold.
See, like,
Your immune system's going to get rid of it.
yeah.
If you really, really, really want to waste some potatoes and put them on your feet, then by all means go for it. It's going to feel gross. It's not really doing anything. But if it gives you those ties to great grandma, there's no harm in it either.
See, listen, that's the thing. Like, if you have a small child who has
So,
asthma, and then you do this, okay, if you're in Appalachia and you
mhm,
have a small child with asthma, great grandma's still around because them people live forever and have never seen a doctor. They had 17 children in their house with a midwife or without, who cares? If you tell that great grandmother that this child has asthma, she's going to say the thing, oh, just drill a hole right above his head over
mhm,
that tree, fill it with his hair and some wax. And once he grows past that, she's going to suggest that. Participating in that ritual connects you emotionally. You have a sense
mm.
that this is our family, our community, the people who care about each
It's
other
kind of a right.
deeply. It's a ritual.
Yeah.
Participating in the ritual actually meets your needs socially
Mhm.
as a human. And then that's why it can be so, you know, there's this weird level of like psychiatric trauma
Mm.
when you find out, oh, that's actually BS.
Yeah.
It's not scientifically true. And it's like, okay, it's actually a more, fully formed, cognitively more fully formed sense to understand that is, that's
Mhm.
just a legend. That's just a norm that we believed in our group. It's not really true. But then if you throw away how that actually helped meet your social needs, your emotional needs as a person, you're throwing away something that you actually need.
Yeah, and I mean, you have to go into it with a sort of open mind, I think, when it comes to like, I know this isn't going to work, but it's not going to hurt me. And
Yeah,
just wants to do this because, she thinks it's looking out for me or something.
exactly.
Of course, now there is a problem with spreading misinformation and be like, this is how you cure this. So
There
don't go get
is.
medicine, just do this. That's a
Yeah.
problem. I don't
Yeah.
agree with that because
Mhm.
now you can be causing harm to yourself and
Yeah.
other people. And let me make it clear that I don't believe this works because I don't want that to
Right.
get misinterpreted. It's just the idea of participating, like you said, in that sort of ritual may just make you feel closer to your community or your family.
This is your group. This is your family coming together to
Mhm.
fight off an illness that one of you has.
Yeah.
And you can't be any more vulnerable than when you're dealing with serious illness. And then when you come together, it imprints on you
It's like prayer
forever.
in a way.
100%, 100%. It's the weird. Okay, you can attempt to live your life just with science. I will not participate any longer in the emotional affairs of human beings. Good luck with that,
Mhm.
because you actually have needs emotionally. You don't simply have a need for knowledge. You
Yeah.
have a need for emotional belonging.
Yeah, and I'm a very logical person, but I'm
Yes.
at the same time, I'm very open-minded, I think. Like I'm
You're
too
willing to reiterate.
well, yeah, this doesn't work, but I'm going to look into why people do it still
Mhm.
because you don't have to even believe it's going to work to do it and feel nice about it. Like there are people who get their children baptized, like Catholics, and they may not even be super Catholic.
No,
They may not even be
but it
super into the religious
connects them.
part,
Yeah, but it connects
but
them
it's a
to the
family
last.
thing.
Yeah, it connects them to the last
So,
2, maybe 3 generations of their family.
yeah,
They feel like they feel a sense of, I do have a place in the world and I'm not
yeah.
alone.
And for those who really are into the religious part, great, fine. But like
Yeah.
it's just there's different kinds. I feel like there's a range, I think, when it comes to this kind of stuff. And but some of these remedies, like obviously we could sit here and laugh and it's because we're like, okay, that's not gonna do anything. Like we know it's not gonna do anything, but it's like it's part of their sort of traditional
Dude,
thing.
it's an explanation for why these things are so powerful inside the group.
Hmm.
It has because it's so deeply intertwined with your emotional formation as a person. That's why it's so hard to look at somebody who has grown up in a particular way and say, no, the science says this. It's actually objectively true. They'll be like, no.
And you have to remember who you're talking to not get into fights with people like that, because I'll know, like, okay, that's not actually going to help, but it didn't hurt them. And if it's something they're holding on to, it's one of the very few pieces of like joy or hope that they have right now. I'm not going to screw that over. I will like fight against misinformation from, say, people running our healthcare system who have no idea what they're talking about because they're leading people to dangerous ends. And I'm not into people getting on Facebook and being like, don't vaccinate your kids or don't do this. Just put this feather under your pillow or something. You know what I mean? Like, obviously,
tape an onion to their socks, like, or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that's dangerous. But this isn't, like, if they're doing this and not getting a child treated for their asthma, that can be dangerous.
A different issue. Yeah.
Right. If they're not seeing a doctor, if the child can't breathe and they're not getting him help and they're just like, well, I guess the spirits just didn't want it to be. Like, that's not cool.
It's like, no, brother, it's 2025. Come on.
It's the like, do this and give the boy his inhaler. When he grows past this, he'll be healed. And whether he is or not, it's just one of those endearing sort of things.
It really is.
Obviously, I don't agree that it's effective at all, but there's a reason we find these things interesting, like reading some of this stuff.
Totally.
Anyway, but
it persists because of that emotional social component. That's how it has persisted so long, because we've been living in an age of technology and science for a long time, but those things persist because of the social aspect.
Like if I'm talking to a patient and they talk about like, I did this and this went away. And I know, I'm like, that's not why it went away. Your immune system took care of it. Okay. You know.
Yeah. Some things you just let them have.
Yeah.
It's like, that's fine. All right.
It's like,
cool story.
Make sure you go back to your doctor to get checked out, whatever.
When are you going to see your primary doctor again?
Right. It's, you know, I'm not going to sit there and argue with them, even though I know like it's not how that works.
Yeah.
Because you're going to lose any kind of rapport with some of these people doing that. And you're just trying to help people. You're not trying to be right all the time. It's not about being right. It's about helping people. So
well said.
Hang on. There's also to cure thrush, take a child to a person who's never seen his or her father. That person will blow breath in the child's face 3 times for 3 days, and the thrush will disappear. Now, this one I cannot recommend just because what if that person is sick? Okay, don't do that. Don't do that. If there's a risk for danger or illness, obviously, that's not cool. We don't want to. Endearment aside, no, don't do that. Okay, don't be blowing people's faces. No, I can't get behind that one.
Just to be clear,
you want to drill holes in trees? Fine. Don't be blowing in people's faces.
Thrush it's a bacterial infection.
It's a fungal infection.
Fungal, excuse me. So you can't blow it away.
I'm going to huff and I'm going to puff and I'm going to blow this fungus away. But anyway, so there's those, but there's also said to be some inhuman things, inhuman beings that live among the wilds of Appalachia. These are part of the reason why you shouldn't go into the woods or go off marked paths or whistle at night. Respond to your name being called. Now, I know we've all been there, though, where we've heard our name when nobody was home. We've all had that happen, right? And you're like, I answered one time. I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm literally the only one in this house right now. And it was my mom's voice and everything. I was like, it's creepy. Anyway, and there's reasons, like neurologically speaking, why that can happen. But yeah, but so I just want to mention a few of these beings that have reportedly been encountered. There is the knot deer, for one.
That's one of my favorites.
Like Camilla would love this because they have this game they play on Roblox called 99 Nights in the Forest or something like that. And there's basically a knot deer in this game. Okay. It is a knot deer. He's walking onto his hind legs and he's all whacked out looking. It's a knot deer. Okay. These creatures look like deer, but there's something very off about them. They may have extra or reversed limbs, forward-facing eyes, which give the impression more of a predator. Predators tend to have forward-facing eyes. Prey tend to have on the sides extra teeth, human-like hands, strangely long limbs, strange head and facial features. They may even stand on their hind legs like a biped. They might even mimic human speech. Now, most of those who report encountering a knot deer say they felt overwhelming fear, nausea, and dissociation, excuse me.
Which is probably just the booze.
I mean, now, I don't know if you saw that clip. Like, I think it was in North Carolina. This guy was driving I'm in South Carolina. It was either South or North Carolina. He was driving and he's talking to this lady and he's like, I don't know. I saw something on the side of the road and it looked like this guy and he's like covered in blood. I didn't know. And all of a sudden something jumps in the back of his truck and he's like, it's not human. It's not human. Have you seen that?
No.
So he saw something. It wasn't a not deer, but anyway, just thought that was fun to mention. He saw something. So, but yeah, this is just an urban legend or a cryptid. Others think the creature is a real animal that may have been deformed by something predatory or environmental. Still, if I see a ratchet looking deer standing on two legs, I am noping it out of there. I don't even believe in this sort of thing, but if I see something, I'm out of there. I'm not going to go investigate.
I noped out.
There are also those who think it is some sort of mimic, like being attempting to lure victims in by seeming familiar, even if poorly so. Like you think after all this time they would know how to mimic a deer better, but maybe not. I also want to mention something. It's not called this, but I'm going to call it this. Skin pedestrians.
What?
It's originally skin
walkers?
Yeah, but a lot of people of Native American culture really don't like even hearing the term. So
what term?
That term.
Just kidding.
So yeah, and it's mostly because they see it as something very serious and very scary, and it's very triggering. But yeah, these have been linked to Appalachian lore. They're actually more originally tied to Navajo culture. But like I said, even the name of the being is a sensitive matter to some. I think the idea of them being tied to Appalachia is that tales of a similar sort of creature exist around there, like the knot deer, for instance, being able to mimic other beings, lure victims in, only so they're never seen again. And those are kind of similar. The Navajo legends of those are pretty similar. So I think they've kind of just started saying that these are found there too, when they're technically more Navajo, which is a different area. There are other legends of hearing your name called to lure you into the forest. The voice may be familiar, but it's not that person. Since the Navajo have stories of a being with similar power to mimic, the name just seems to have bled over to the Appalachian area as well. Now, from what I understand, the Navajo take the idea and stories of this being very seriously, and they are not fans of outsiders discussing them lightly.
Got it.
I think for some, like even mentioning like the name kind of calls it to you, or like means you may encounter it. That sort of deal.
Saying Voldemort's name.
Or Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice. Anyway, also the Wendigo is another being of Native American folklore from up north, the Algonquin peoples specifically, and it's not the same as a Navajo beast that I just talked about, but it is a terrifying one in of itself. I mentioned that one because sometimes it gets listed among Appalachian cryptids, but it's typically a more northern, like Canada and northern U.S. sort of deal, I think. So there's that. I just wanted to kind of mention those.
There is a weapon in Destiny 2 called the Wendigo GL3. It's a heavy grenade launcher.
If you look up what a Wendigo is, you'll never want to run into one. They're not, I mean, I don't believe they exist, but it's not something you want to run into.
Let me back up. They don't exist.
Not something you want to run into. There are some terrifying stories. Now, back to Appalachia, I should mention that crows and ravens are excellent at mimicking sounds and human voices. So that's something to think about.
Yes.
They're very good at that. So you may even be hearing something like that. Being in those woods is likely creepy enough. It would be very easy for your eyes and your ears and brain to kind of trick you as to shadows and sounds, familiar or not. Especially if you're not from around there, you're going to hear animal sounds you've never heard before. If you've ever heard a freaking bobcat scream.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. But so being in these woods on its own, and you shouldn't be by yourself, obviously. People also go missing in these woods and mountains every year. Lots of people.
It's not hard to do.
No, but this is true of all national parks too. People go missing at the Grand Canyon a lot. People go missing at Yellowstone a lot. These are huge areas full of dangerous wildlife, high cliffs and rocks you can fall off of, woods for miles to get lost in and just never end up finding your way out. You can actually go to unsolvedappalachia.org and see a lot of info on missing persons that have never been found, that went missing in Appalachia. If they do die out there, the remains can be scattered by animals, buried under eventually. It's just really hard to find any sort of sign. And it's easy to blame such cases on all manners of mysterious cryptids and legends. It just is. Mm-hmm. Other cryptids. This is not an extensive or complete list. I could never finish one. So let's just start with one that's pretty well known. Mothman. Hang on. Mothman. Mothman. This one is just interesting in so many ways. There's a whole Mothman culture these days, okay? I have
Okay.
I have a stuffy version. He's a Mothman. He's so cute. They even make different versions of him. But there's also a festival every year now in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Gotta make money somehow, you know? This one actually originates in Point Pleasant in the late 1960s. And the first to see this entity were two couples, Roger and Linda Scarberry and Steve and Mary Mallett. On November 15th, 1966, these four were riding together on State Route 62 near the abandoned National Guard Armory building and power plant known as the TNT area by the locals. Now, the basic description given by these witnesses included a large black creature whose eyes glowed red, standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Yeah, one of the witnesses actually drew what she said she saw, and she described this being. It looks like that thing that's in Looney Tunes, the monster,
It does.
like the red monster.
His name is Gossamer.
Yeah, like the hair.
Yes.
But anyway, yeah, that's what she drew, and she basically described it as a slender, muscular man about 7 feet tall with white wings. However, she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effect of its eyes. Now, earlier they said it was a large black creature. I don't know. It was dark. Oh.
A demigorgon, maybe?
And she also explained that they sped away in their car and that it followed them as close to Point Pleasant city limits, screeching the whole way. And she said it was a clumsy runner, but it rose like a helicopter and glided after them. They said it kept pace with them even as they went 100 miles per hour. Now, my thing is, could cars go 100 miles per hour back then? In the 1960s? 1966?
Yes.
I'm thinking like one of those big chunky cars. I'm like, you gotta be putting
there was some
you gotta be putting the pedal down, man. But yeah, 100 miles per hour. Of course, the press had fun with this story in such articles as "Winged Red-Eyed Thing Chases Point Pleasant Couples Across Countryside." And
the newspaper was like the Wild West back then, bro.
I mean, especially in towns like this, you know. Couples see man-sized bird ... creature ... something. Now,
dramatic.
These people didn't have Apple phones. They didn't have TikTok. So some went out, you know, monster hunting with rifles, and stories of sightings began to spread. You know, they had something to do, right?
I'm going to run me a backhoe.
I'm going to go find this critter. There were more sightings over the next few days, including by a couple of volunteer firefighters who described it more as a giant bird with red eyes. One woman, Connie Carpenter, claims that she saw the beast on November 27th, 1966 in broad daylight, and it still had the glowing red eyes. Now, mind you, these are anecdotal, so I feel like you would know this thing was not a bird if you saw it in broad daylight, if your vision was okay. Like, you're looking at it in broad daylight, and you're like, that's either a normal bird or it's not, right? Like, okay. Some, like the county sheriff for the area, have speculated that it was a kind of heron, possibly. Similarly, like I said, though, like this lady who saw it in broad daylight, if she saw it, I'm like, has she never seen like a large bird before, like a heron? Like, anyway.
This feels like the part of Stranger Things before Jonathan and Nancy finally figure out they saw the same creature and it was the Demogorgon. Like he didn't have a face.
Yeah. And then what do? They go in the daggum forest looking for it. Don't do that. All right. So, but also wildlife biologist Robert L. Smith from West Virginia University believed. I am moderately irritated. But he believed it was a sandhill crane based on others' descriptions of what they saw. Now, this is not a native species there, so, you know, they wouldn't have seen it before, but still, I feel like you could see it and be like, that's not a monster. It's just a big freaking bird. If in daylight, I could see maybe if it was at night and it's weird. Now, these cranes are almost as tall as a man. They have a 7-foot wingspan, reddish coloring around its eyes. Also, a lot of animals have that sort of reflective surface in the back of their eye, so it helps them see at night better and stuff. I forget what it's actually called, but yeah, it's like a thing. But like I said, this is not a native species here, but they suspected that it might have wandered into the area upon migration, like we just kind of got lost. So, I mean, even if it is this crane, it's still pretty freaky to see in the dark, you know, if it starts chasing you or something. Now, the blue heron, barred owl, and large snowy owl have also been contenders. The snowy owl there was a snowy owl with a 5-foot wingspan that was actually shot over the area, and it's displayed at the Mothman Museum. So there is a Mothman Museum as well. So that's just a speculation that maybe it was that. No. But if Mothman resembles a bird more than a giant moth, where did the name come from? Why Mothman? The only explanation I could find for the name was a reference to the Batman TV series with Adam West.
Oh, wow.
Holy Mothman, Batman. Anyway, yeah, I did that. I'm sorry. Anyway, among the bunch of villains shown from the comics, there was one called Killer Moth. Now, this one didn't actually make it in one of the show's episodes, but he was an original bad guy. But anyway, the newspapers, saw similarities. And of course, they make the call when they name something, right? So it became known as Mothman. Others who recalled seeing it reported similar descriptions of the eyes glowing or reflecting light. And at least one resident believed their dog was taken by the Mothman. Jan Harold Brunvand, he's a folklorist studying the matter, noted that the recountings of the 1966 through 67 Mothman reports state that at least 100 people saw Mothman, with many more, quote, afraid to report their sightings. However, the written sources for such stories consisted of children's books or sensationalized or undocumented accounts without the identities of those witnesses. Now, he did explain that there were elements in common among many Mothman reports and much older folk tales of the area, suggesting that something real may have triggered the scare, and then familiar stories mixed with the new ones when it came to explaining what was experienced. He also provided anecdotal tales of Mothman supposedly attacking the roofs of parked cars occupied by teenagers, which may just be kind of an urban legend, right? There were also reports of hoaxes after the initial sightings, including a group of construction workers who tied flashlights to helium balloons, because I guess they had time for that and got bored. A little over a year later, in December of 1967, the Silver Bridge, an old suspension bridge spanning across the Ohio River, suddenly collapsed. This was the deadliest bridge disaster in modern history. The bridge and the cars and people on it crashed into the river, causing 46 deaths and only 21 survivors in this incident. That would go on. Yeah, it would go on to be considered, like I said, the deadliest bridge disaster in modern history.
46 people.
But it just so happened that there were a number of people who claimed to see the Mothman that very day, near or flying over the bridge before the collapse, which would have linking the creature to this tragedy, calling it an omen of sorts. Anyway, the fall of the bridge was tragic, but it was simply faulty infrastructure, which we unfortunately deal with a lot of in this country. It's not reported on very much, but there's a problem. Anyway, the legend has turned into a tourist attraction, really, and you can see a statue of the Mothman. I think I sent you a picture of that too. The Mothman statue. They have a lovely little statue of the guy in all of his mothy sort of.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's Mothman. Mothman, Mothman, Mothman. But it's at Point Pleasant, West Virginia. They also have a Mothman Museum that was opened in 2005. They have a Mothman Festival in the fall. You can buy all kinds of souvenirs and Mothman merch these days. And while he was originally this sort of terror of the town, he's more of this endearing mascot. There was a movie called The Mothman Prophecies with Richard Gere in it. We should watch it and just get your reaction to it.
Let's do this.
It is loosely based on the sightings, in my opinion. Technically, it's based on the book by John Keel. He wrote this book in 1975. It was called The Mothman Prophecies. Keel claimed that Point Pleasant residents experienced premonitions of the collapse of the Silver Bridge, UFO sightings, visits from inhuman or threatening men in black, the men in black, and other phenomena. And there have been more recent sightings, though not just in West Virginia. There are some that believe Mothman is alien in origin, as in he came from a UFO. Some that also believe in this theory believe that he was seen in Moscow before the 1999 apartment bombings. Not sure what he was doing there, but there was a picture taken by a man in 2016. I sent you this too, just to see what you thought about it. He was on Route 2 near the original West Virginia area. It was claimed by some that this picture was of the Mothman. Of course, the picture is very grainy. It is this silhouette of some flying creature near the treetops. It's a weird picture. It honestly, if you look at it a certain way, it looks like he's got legs back there and he's just kind of flying dude. Mm-hmm. His wings would not be big enough to carry him if he were that big. But anyway, no. It's weird. But if real and not a hoax, it could easily be a flying large bird with something in its beak like a snake.
Yes.
The feet, where the feet look like they are, would be his head carrying something, and where you think his head is, if he wears a human creature, not inhuman, whatever, like his head would be on the other side, but if you turn it around, look at it a different way.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this picture, a lot of people who believe in Mothman hold on to that picture. I mean, they don't have it like in their wallet, but you know what I mean? They
right.
They hold on to that particular, that bit of evidence. The guy who took it says he was new to the area and didn't even know about the Mothman legends, but who knows for sure? I mean, there were also reported sightings by some 55 people of the creature in Chicago, Illinois in 2017, which, anyway. Now, the moon-eyed people. The rest of these are going to be much smaller, just so you know, because there's not as much, there's history, but it's much easier to understand. Now the moon-eyed people refers to a group of people that the Cherokee tribe who once lived throughout the Southeast. Now, these were like villages and settlements in Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama. You know, this was their land that they were in. And of course, they were forced out. In 1838, the Treaty of New Echota resulted in thousands of Cherokee people to be forcibly removed from their ancestral homelands in Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, and Georgia. This became known as the Trail of Tears. Before forced removal, numerous treaties and agreements were made between the U.S. and the Cherokee Nation, which steadily reduced the extent of their lands over time. Georgia, in particular, resented their ability to hold on to their ancestral lands after the Civil War, I believe, and they just refused to abide by the old treaty that had guaranteed the Cherokee these lands. 1828, for instance, Georgia passed a law pronouncing all laws of the Cherokee Nation to be null and void after June 1st, 1830. Then a year later, gold was found on Cherokee territory, and efforts to force them out got stronger. Then, of course, he who shall not be named, i.e. Andrew Jackson, racist extraordinaire, began to aggressively implement a broad policy of extinguishing Indian land titles in affected states and relocating the Indian population, just because he's a terrible person. He actually had an encounter with the Bell Witch, so I'll cover that later. Not today, but anyway, I just like to remind people of injustice when it comes to such subjects. The Moon-Eyed People were written and spoken about by the Cherokee tribes. They were described as these bearded, white-skinned people who were living in the area before they had come there. There is a book that was published in 1797 by Benjamin Smith Barton called New Views of the Origin of the Tribes and Nations of America. A bit long-winded, but okay. That explains why they were called moon-eyed people. They apparently were unable to see well during the day. Barton got this info from an earlier settler of the area named Leonard Marbury. Now, Marbury had been an officer in the Revolutionary War, an early congressman of Georgia, and he had been an intermediary between the Native Americans of the Southeast and the American government, basically. So he had connections to the Cherokee people. He was able to communicate with them, and he was aware of their stories and their history. Citing Marbury, Barton wrote, "The Cherokee tell us that when they first arrived in the country which they inhabit, they found it possessed by certain moon-eyed people who could not see in the daytime. These wretches they expelled." Now, Barton was of the opinion that these were descendants of a group of albino people from Panama known as the Guna, who had also been called moon-eyed, like in other documents, earlier documents. The latter were encountered apparently by a Welsh explorer named Lionel Wafer. Okay. Now, it was believed by many that these people had built what were ruins by that time, like so prior to Columbus arriving to the area. John Sevier, who was an early Tennessee governor, reportedly visited Fort Mountain in 1782. In a letter that he wrote, that Chief Okatosota of the Cherokees, who was then like 90 years old, told him about how his forefathers, and this is a direct quote, told of the fort being built by white men from across the Great Water. There are a lot of other old tales of their origin and accomplishments, some that call their descriptions into question. Some have even suggested that the little white people with weak eyes were descendants of this mythical 12th century Welsh prince, Madoc okay, this is Welsh, so I'm going to say it wrong. Prince Madoc.
There we go.
I'm going to butcher the rest of his name. And yeah, he allegedly landed in the Americas near what's now Mobile, Alabama, before Columbus ever did. Of course, this was significant to the English because if it was true, then it meant the English had found the land and claimed it first instead of the Spaniards, right? So, but that prince, that Welsh prince, is apparently mythical. I don't know if there's any evidence that he existed. We only have written evidence and oral traditions that mention these people. So Thomas Jefferson was a firm believer in them, in the Moon-Eyed people. He encouraged Lewis and Clark to search for them during their trek westward. They never found them.
You don't say.
The Cherokees also told of another group of little people, and these seem a lot like fairies, honestly. The Nunehai, I might be saying that wrong, were usually described as a benevolent and mysterious little people that had mystical powers like teleporting and invisibility. It literally means the people who live anywhere, but it is often translated into English as the people who live forever or simply the immortals. They were known as protectors of the forest and helpers of lost travelers. There were some, though, that were said to be tricksters or even mean to those who encountered them. Kind of like fairies, fairy stories you'd find in like Scotland, Ireland, European type folklore as well. Some tribes believe that you should leave a gift for the little people before entering the forested areas of the Appalachians so that they would stay happy. Others mentioned to leave a sprinkle of tobacco on the ground in front of the trees as payment to enter the forest. Legend says that the little people like music and especially drumming, singing, and dancing. The Cherokee legend says, sometimes their drums are heard in lonely places in the mountains, but it is not safe to follow it, for they do not like to be disturbed at home. They will throw a spell over the stranger so that he is bewildered and loses his way. And even if he finally gets back to the settlement, he will be like one dazed forever after. Others say you couldn't even find them if you tried to. So the legend goes on to say that if you find something in the forest, such as a knife or a trinket, you must ask the little people if you can have it. If you don't ask, they may throw stones at you on your way home. There are a lot of stories in Cherokee traditions about these Nunehai, or basically Appalachian fairies, if you will. There's also the feral people of Appalachia. Some stories have become widespread of groups of people who have retreated away from mainstream society or civilization deep into the forests of the Appalachia area and have become, well, feral. They exhibit animal-like behaviors and characteristics. Some believe they're actually descendants of traumatized Civil War deserters, families of old coal workers, or displaced persons in general. Some stories involve violent encounters with these people during which livestock or children are stolen or people are attacked. And still, this is just common folklore, and while there may be some people who seem less civilized because they'd rather live in solitude, this sort of thing has become more of a stereotype, really. I'm not even going to talk about the Brown Mountain Lights because that's been proven to not be real. So I'm just going to skip that one. I am going to talk about the Wampus cat real quick. Wampus. The Wampus cat, there's a few versions across the country, actually, but here in Appalachia, Wampus is what it goes by. This one comes from the Cherokee tradition that features a monstrous cat creature with glowing eyes, incredible strength and speed, and a horrifying howl. The original Cherokee story is of a woman who disguised herself with a mountain lion pelt and spied on a sacred ceremony. She was caught and cursed by a medicine man, mainly because women weren't allowed to hunt with the men. They weren't allowed to go to these ceremonies, whatever. And so the mountain lion's skin became her own, and she became this beast, basically. Another story is of a native woman named Running Deer who was trying to save her husband from the minions of Ewa, a spirit that had driven him mad. She put on a mountain lion pelt and a mask and asked the spirits for help. They turned her into a powerful mountain lion-like cat with great strength, and she defeated the minions and saved her husband. On her death, she asked only that her spirit be returned to the same body she'd used to protect her husband, that she might forever defend the land from anything that would threaten it. And in this version, too, she became the Wampus cat. So she is believed by many Cherokee to be a protector of their people, by early settlers to the area, and others even now as a beast that kills livestock and people if they venture out at night. Some early European settlers also merged their own folklore with that of this Cherokee Wampus legend, including the witchcraft and shapeshifters from European myths and folklore. In the Western Appalachias, where Scandinavian people settled, the Wampus cat is this powerful trickster, as cunning as it is powerful, basically. It kind of evokes this lineage of Odin and Loki, the Norse gods, if you will. Typically resembles a mountain lion, which are already scary. Thanks. They stalk you, and they'll pounce on you, and they kill quite a lot of people, to be honest. They're not fun. Some legends say the cat has 6 legs instead of the usual 4. Like he has an extra set of legs up here. He has a spiked tail, can walk around on its hind legs like a cat human. It's also said to smell terrible and musky, and to have the powers of hypnosis to confuse prey with. It has this loud scream that is innately terrifying and can become invisible at will, and is very intelligent as well. So if you meet this creature, God help you, I suppose. Hearing one is associated as an omen of death, similar to hearing a banshee, if you will. You can actually find mentions of Wampus, the Wampus cat, in Harry Potter books. Apparently the fur of the Wampus is a core material for wands in America. Like Ivermony, right? Is the school here? No. They're also in D&D as well. I think there's a magic card too that these are on. Anyway, these have also been used as school mascots in certain areas. So there's that. Raven mocker. That just sounds like a fun insult. You raven mocker. Now, another Cherokee mythological creature based in stories and traditions. They are witches or evil spirits that prolong their lives by preying on the sick and dying. They are often depicted as withered and aged, flying through the night while emitting cries resembling a raven's call. They eat the hearts of their victims and absorb the remaining years of their lives. At night, it flies through the air in fiery form with outstretched arms resembling wings and sparks trailing behind it. Their flight is accompanied by the sound of rushing wind, and their cries are described as resembling a raven's dive call. And then they are considered, hearing one is considered an omen of death. Hearing anything in these woods is considered an omen of death.
If you hear anything,
you're going to die. Also, don't rock the empty rocking chairs. Now, they like to hang around homes of the sick and dying, quickening their deaths by pressing on their chests, making breathing difficult, sometimes throwing them to the ground. Like, geez, chill. Once the victims die, the raven mockers eat their hearts and absorb the life they should have had left, basically. Apparently, skilled medicine men are supposed to be able to sense them and repel them, and legend says if you see one in their true form, they will die in 7 days. I don't know why it takes them 7 days, but there we are. All right, last one for today. Okay, I promise. I did my best to limit things. This is Spearfinger. Now, this one I actually heard of recently elsewhere, but this is another Cherokee legend, mind you. It's a witch with a spear or obsidian knife for her right forefinger.
Okay.
She uses this knife finger to cut out and eat people's livers. She especially likes...
Just the liver?
Yeah, she especially likes children's livers. So she also shapeshifts into family members so that kids trust her, so that she can like lure them around and then steal their liver. She's also made of stone, or she has like stone skin, so any kind of arrows can't really pierce her. Her only weak spot is the palm of her right hand, or where it meets her wrist or something like that. A blow here somehow also hits her heart. It's said that Spearfinger was formed from stones of the Smoky Mountains. In her natural form, Spearfinger is described as an old woman with blood stains around her mouth, from eating so many livers. Once Spearfinger undertook to build a great rock bridge through the air from this tree rock, as it's, I'm not going to say the actual word because I will butcher it, but it's translated to tree rock, on the Hiawassee over to, I guess, the Whiteside Mountain located on the Blue Ridge. Now, this structure moderately irritated the higher beings because it came too close to their upper world. It's kind of like the Babel story in the Bible, if you think about it. She's trying to build this thing to get higher. Anyway, they struck it with lightning, because they didn't like it. In the 19th century, Cherokee pointed out the location where they claimed the ruins of Spearfinger's tree rock remain even today. They named the area along the mountain Hiawassee and the valley Nantahala. Now, the site of these remains in Blount County is called that word, which means the Spearfinger place. Anyway, there are many Cherokee tales about this witch, including one in which they kill her. There's a 2021 movie called The Hike that involves this critter. There's also a stone man in legend that is a competitor of hers because he also eats people's livers. And, he's got a competitor out there. She's got to compete with competitors she has to compete with. But yeah, one thing I'll mention about I mentioned the little people a little bit ago. There's some interesting story that the Cherokee people hold to after the Trail of Tears, that some of their people actually went to live with the little people. Like the little people invited them to come stay with them because something awful was about to happen.
Oh, wow.
Like there's this story there. And there's like, there's some stories about their regrets of leaving behind family or friends that parts of their civilization, the parts of their tribe and stuff that decided to go and stay with the little people. So they were said to live underground. But yeah, now I'm not going to talk any about these, but there's also the Flatwoods Monster. He was like the alien, the resident alien creature of Appalachia. He is also called Braxy, but yeah, it's just an alien dude. Smoke wolves are a thing. Puckwudgies, which is fun. Of course, there's Bigfoot. I feel like most of us know a lot about Bigfoot already. There's something called skunk apes. They're smelly.
I've seen those.
So there's a lot. These are just some honorable mentions, but there's a lot, like I said, I could talk about. I just picked the ones that seemed the most terrifying, really, to me, and the ones that I'd heard of the most. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to talk about the mountain lights, the brown mountain lights. Those ended up being proven to be car lights and electric lights, but still interesting story. But I was like, we're kind of cutting in a little too much here. So, but I will talk in another episode, maybe one of our bonus episodes about the Bell Witch, because that's going to be a fun one. I just didn't have time to mention it here. There's just too much to mention in that story. So,
all right. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. That's going to do it for this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Don't whistle at night.